Hello and welcome to this broadcast of Running on Love with God. My name's Lori Michelle, and I was awakened in April of 2009 to the voice of our Creator, God Himself. And He said, go get pen and paper and start writing this down. And I listened, and here I am, all these years later, broadcasting from Israel. I now live in Israel, and my friend Anna Marie is in Chicago. I've known Anna Marie for over 30 years. Hi, Anna Marie. We're old work buddies, and she co-hosts with me every week, and we go deeper into topics to help people learn where we're going wrong and how to get it right. And at this point in our journey, all of us can see that we're heading to world war. So this program, while my programs tend to be ominous and dark sometimes because I have to wake you up, this program will hopefully be more uplifting because it's about love. Because love will heal the world, truly. And the name of the program is, Can Love Bring World Peace? Is world peace possible? And I posted a picture, and this is the picture, and over 600 people liked it. And it says, true love will bring world peace. Love others first. And that's what the program's about, love. Because when we learn to love, truly love, real love, we can and will heal the world. And I'm going to turn the floor over to you right away, Anna Marie, because I posed a lot of questions in what I wrote up about this week's program. And you're a great questioner, and I'm sure you have even more of your own. So I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
All right. Love is such an abstract concept. And it's easy when things are going fine to just feel love for the world and everyone in it. But as soon as something goes wrong, as soon as somebody hurts you, how do you react in love? Where does the love fit in there?
First of all, to answer your question, we need to understand what is true love, because that was my post. True love will bring world peace. So what is love? Is love a euphoric feeling when you see someone and they're good looking and you fall in love? Or is that infatuation? We have to discern right now at the beginning of the program, what is love? And is it a truly real energy that can heal? True love is all about you and everyone else. And your question is, well, when someone hurts you or something goes wrong, how do you feel that energy of love? And the answer is, you have to go inward to your source, to who you truly are. You see, before we arrive here in a body, in flesh and bone, we're spirit. We're just like God, Hashem God. We are just like Him in our essence, and we are pure love. But the minute we come here and we're incarnate and we're born into a body, we're separate. We're separate from each other. And therein lies the first problem. We become ourselves, and it becomes about ourself. Selfishness, egotism, and protecting ourselves. So the answer to your question is, we have to remember our true essence and why we came here in the first place, and go back to who we truly are in every moment.
Okay, can you talk a little bit more about what love actually is? If it's not infatuation, if it's not a general feel-good feeling, what is it?
There's an expression that I first heard when I ran my first marathon in 2007 that I had never heard before, and you probably were raised with it, but I wasn't. God is love. Mm-hmm. Were you raised with that?
Yes.
I wasn't. I wasn't raised with it. I was barely raised with any education about God or who God was. And I can tell you that I have a relationship with Him where I speak to Him in English, and He is pure love. So what is love? God is love. And how is he pure love? Everything he does is for everyone else's good. He's not even truly in the equation until we decide. And then he reacts to our decision. But everything he does is outward. It's for you, Anna Marie. It's for me. He has everything he needs. He doesn't need us for anything. He just desires love and appreciation. So true love is giving, our source, and what we come from is true love. And we need to think our first thought in every moment, what can I do for you? How can I help you? And know and understand that it will come back to us at the end. Hopefully, not always, but.
Well, and that works if everybody's thinking of everybody else first. But if you're thinking of everybody else first and they're thinking, yeah, you're finally treating me how I should be treated, and they continue to think of themselves, then how does that work? And then should you continue to try to react or to act the same way?
That's the biggest problem we have right now in the world. That most people, most of the time, think first, what about me? What about my needs? So when you are more outward and more giving, and in your nature, you're more true to your nature, and you get sucker punched, how do you react? Do you want to be a doormat? Do you want someone to take advantage of you? Of course not. So the answer to that question is, don't retreat and become part of the problem. Walk away. Walk away. If you keep giving your love in a direction and it's met with, well, you bought me flowers, but why didn't you buy me roses? Then that's not the person you should be giving flowers to, right?
Right.
So you have to examine in every moment what your love, how your love is received. If your love is not being received, there's an expression, when do you stop banging your head against the wall? When it hurts. Love shouldn't hurt. If you're giving and you're loving someone and it hurts and you feel taken advantage of, you're not being responded to in kind. And it may be time to either have a discussion and work through those issues, but if it happens repeatedly, it may be time to find someone else to give your love to.
You asked, is it possible to give too much of yourself away?
Hashem says no. He just said no. The problem that we have right now is, look at the world. The world is filled with fighting and terror and people aligning themselves with different groups who think they know better than everyone else. They're looking for love. So the reaction is to recoil and not to give. And he said that's not the answer. The answer is for a worldwide awakening, for everybody to change intrinsically that nature that they have succumbed to while they're here of being selfish and becoming like him and becoming outward, even if it hurts. Don't ever be afraid to love or give of yourself. And we all have to start a movement of love. This is not esoteric philosophy. This is not all you need is love and, we'll hold hands and sing Kumbaya. This is a real recommendation from God himself for all of us to consciously love each other and choose outward in every moment and start a movement of love around the world.
You said that you would elaborate and give examples about how love is truly the answer to all our problems. So how can you give an example, or can you tell us how do we start that movement? What can we individually do?
Start the movement of love?
Yes.
When you have any thought in any moment Always check your thoughts. And I say this every week, no matter what our topic is. It could be evil speech. And I always say where we have to go first as human beings is check our thoughts and be very deliberate in what comes out of our mouth when it comes to evil speech or any choice. But when it comes to love and we make decisions, always make decisions outwardly, not about myself. And I'm not saying become a doormat. I'm saying let's have an example. I'm walking down the street and I'm in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood. It happens, right?
Mhm.
So I walk past someone and I have a decision. I can have a foul face and look away, or I can consider that person and not want to ruin their day. Think of them first. I'm in a bad mood. It's not their fault. So I smile anyway and I say, hello, that's a beautiful dress you're wearing today. And guess what happens? They're uplifted and I was in a bad mood, but I'm purposefully choosing to make someone else happy. They're happy. They send their happy vibes back to me. Wow, thank you. And you look beautiful too. And then I feel uplifted. Love is like a boomerang. You got to give it away. You want more love in your life, you've got to be more loving, even when you don't feel like it.
And that holds true in every interaction, no matter how small.
No matter how small. I had my own business for over 25 years. No matter how small the client was, they were king or queen when they were in front of me. Always, always. I didn't measure how much am I getting out of this. Is it only a $10 sale? I don't have time for you. How many times do people go business networking? And I was one of them. And people were always looking over my shoulder for the bigger target, the bigger payday, because they recognized after talking to me for 3 minutes that I wasn't going to be a big payday for them. So they would look over my shoulder and disregard me in that moment. And I never did that. I always valued who was in front of me. Always, always, always put the other person first, no matter who they were. I treated them the way I would want to be treated, the golden rule.
But in a situation like that, it is a fact that there are people that are more important for you to meet than others.
Right.
So you just have a friendly conversation with the people that you don't need to spend time with and then move on? What's the difference?
Well, okay, let's play it out. I'm in a networking meeting. It's only an hour long, and I need business. And I know the person who's talking to me right now is not someone that's a contact for me. There's a right way and a wrong way to dismiss that person. If you dismiss them and make them feel diminished, that they're not your payday, you've done the wrong thing. You tell them, you know, you're really interesting and I really enjoy talking to you, but I'd like to circulate now. Let's exchange business cards and let's talk on the telephone another time. But never diminish them to the point where I have been diminished, where someone's looking over my shoulder and
Right.
I'll talk to you later. Or they just stop talking to you and just immediately start talking to someone else. Check yourself. Check how you're treating people. Check your eye contact with them. There was a woman who hosted a very big radio program. And I reached out to her because I met her in a networking business meeting. And she said, oh, contact me sometimes. Let's network. So I did. And I sent her an email and I said, I'd love to be a guest on your program. And she said, well, you know, like you, I have a very busy schedule. Tell me about yourself and let me see if it's something I'm interested in. But it was her tone. Do you understand? It's not
Yes.
necessarily sometimes what you say, it's how you say it. And she just brushed me off. Running on Love the Charity wasn't a big enough egg for her program. Wasn't titillating enough for her.
So you don't have to say yes to everyone and everything. It's how you say no.
Right. There were clients that were too little for me that I would lose money. And so I had to turn it down, but it was how I turned it down. Maybe I referred them to a freelancer and I apologize. I would love to help you, but this isn't the kind of work that we do here. But let me refer to you to someone who might be able to help. Always think of the other person first and their feelings.
Okay.
I'm not saying to be a doormat, Anna Marie, and I'm not telling you, there have been times that I have felt put upon and taken advantage of by clients who knew my good nature. And one day, my accountant was in my office. I was very upset. There was one client I was losing money on. He was taking full advantage of us. And he said to me, Lori, you can fire a client. And here I am talking about love, 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 give, give, give. But this client was clearly rude and abusive. And I said, I can? He said, yes, you can fire a client. You can tell them you don't want to do their business if they're not treating you right. And that's exactly what I did. This client was abusive to me and called me to criticize an invoice and then question my integrity. How do I know that your artist spent 10 hours on this and only spent 2 hours? So he was accusing me of padding the bill. I said, well, apparently you don't trust me, so I think it's time to say goodbye. So I'm going to zip up all your files, and you can pay the final invoice, and you can have all your files, and someone else can complete your work. I did it in a very professional way, and I returned his what he said to me. He said, how do I know I can trust you? I said, well, apparently we don't have a relationship. So you don't have to be a pansy or a pushover, or I don't know what the word is. You can have backbone. But you need to consider the other person first. Did I give that client my best? Did I do my best to give him an honest invoice and a good day's work? Always think of the other person.
How did he take the rejection?
Interestingly, he came with a check and he apologized profusely to my then husband. It was when I was married and he was my partner. And he said, please apologize to Lori. I'm very, very sorry. So, sometimes when you take a stand, it earns you the respect that you wanted in the first place. Unfortunately, there are people in this world who are very self-serving, self-centered, and abusive. And if you're one of the good people, and there are many who are very giving and very hardworking, you can get trampled on. I'm not telling you to get trampled on. I'm telling you to lead with love, no matter how other people treat you. Always lead with love.
You said you would share conversations that you have had with Hashem on this topic. Is there anything specific you can recall that you can share?
Love is not only about giving, but it's about how we speak to each other. How kind are we to each other? What do we expect from each other? And I have a little story about parsley. I bought fresh parsley and I had too much of it, so I left it out to dry. I put it in a plastic container and I put it on my refrigerator and forgot about it. And then one day I was in my kitchen and I was looking for a container to put my leftovers in. And I had a lid, but I didn't have a container to go with the lid. And I thought, oh, Hashem, was I stupid? Did I throw out the container? Where is the container? I couldn't find it. And then he suddenly turned my head. He can turn your head, by the way. He can do it to anyone. He can put a thought in your head. He literally turned my head to look at the top of my refrigerator, and he said, "Look, honey, there it is. Don't you remember? You're drying out the parsley." But it's the way he did it. Now, I've been in someone's home, a friend's home, where there were children and they were looking for plastic containers. And my friend's son asked his sister, his stepsister, "Where's the Tupperware?" And she was very derisive. "The same place it was last time. Like, you should know, stupid." But she didn't say that. But that was her comment. "The same place it was last time." And it erupted in a fight. She was a nice girl, but in that moment, she chose to be derisive. Whatever got into her head, she didn't think that that thought was bad. She just let it come out of her mouth.
Okay, and then on the other hand, let's say you're dealing with somebody who never wants to think for themselves and is always going to ask you where the plastic containers are because they don't want to look or act for themselves. How do you get out of that cycle?
You mean someone who's always asking dumb questions?
Yeah.
You bite your tongue. You ask yourself, to what end? To what end? I know people like that. They like to hear themselves talk. Some people ask you, "Oh, Anna Marie, how's Bob doing? Is he working?" And they know Bob is working or not working, whatever, your husband. And they'll ask you a question they know the answer to, but they just want to hear themselves ramble on and talk. Do you know people like this? I
Yes.
do. Okay. So it's irritating. It's irritating, right? But ask yourself, to what end? You can jump on that person and say, "Well, you already know the answer to that." And that would be snippy. It's not leading with love.
Right.
Right. You could say, "This person's lonely. They're looking for conversation. Just answer quickly and change the topic." Because that's leading with love. Why do you need to be derisive to someone? Try to put yourself in their shoes. Why did they say that? Why are they asking for the Tupperware constantly? Maybe they're just not thinking straight. Be helpful. If it's someone who's always asking, "Where's the Tupperware?" and can't get it straight, Anna Marie, they may have a problem. And maybe you might say to them, "I love you. Why do you keep asking me the same question? It's there. Is there a problem that you can't remember? Maybe we should look into this." Seriously, not in a derisive way.
In a helpful way.
In a helpful way. Always think about the other person.
Okay, now apply that to a traffic situation. So you're driving and someone cuts you off. How do you react in love?
Well, there's an expression I learned when I was in driver's education in high school, and they had an expression of dead right. Right? You could be dead right. You're right. You had the right of way, and they cut you off. And so you could be really angry and go after them. And I've been in the car with aggressive drivers who chase after the guy who cut them off and start flipping them the middle finger. And we've heard stories of road rage where people stop their car, come out with a gun, and shoot you. So there's an expression, dead right. You just be grateful that the person who cut you off didn't cause an accident. If they caused you an accident, wait for the police before you mouth off. You don't know who you're mouthing off to. Safety first. There are people who they have anger problems. You got to be careful. I remember once I was, I think I was 17, and I was driving, and this guy was riding on my rear end, tailgating me. So I slowed down on purpose. I was really angry. Why is he tailgating? And I slowed down to almost a halt. And I figured he's either going to pass me or he's going to stop tailgating and he's going to get the message. He literally cut me off. I'll never forget this. Pulled his car over, ready to beat me up because he didn't know I was a 17-year-old little girl. And he got out of his car, rah, 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 and he looks at me and I said, yes. And he apologized. I was very lucky.
Yeah.
But it was probably not the best way to handle that at 17, come to think of it. You know, it was nighttime. This man was really angry that I was driving so slowly. But he was angry thinking I was being a bad driver. And he handled it completely wrong. Should have just passed me.
Right. And what should you have done?
I should have just pulled over and let him go. My father always told me, drive slowly, drive in the right lane. If there's a crazy driver, just let them go. Don't argue. And I should have done that. So I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
There's many times people are rude, and you really have to think about your safety, especially in this day and age. You don't know what kind of lunatic you're being faced with.
Okay, how long or how much do people have to start treating each other and thinking of each other first before the world as a whole starts getting better? Does every single person have to act like that, or just a majority?
It truly does. It really begins with one person, but it's not going to happen. We will not experience peace on earth until every person emulates God. Truly. Now, I recognize that we're not God. We're not self-sufficient like him. We can't just speak something and it comes into being. He needs us for nothing. He's completely self-sufficient. But that's exactly how we have to behave. We can't behave like everybody's there for our beck and call or to make us happy. Well, I'll love you if you believe what I believe, or you say what I want to hear, or you give me what I want. But if you don't give me what I want, I'm not going to love you anymore. And love is very conditional. Even with a parent and a child, I've seen parents disown their own children because they've chosen a different religious path. You don't believe what I believe. This is what I believe. How dare you? Like, as though they own that child. But more often than not, it's in marriages and business relationships.
Final question, how do we get from here to there?
We need to begin right now. We need to know that love is a real energy. It's not philosophical fluff. That's love, love, love. Let's sing Kumbaya. We really need to blow up the terrorists. I've already said in these programs, we're never going to kill the last terrorist, because the next terrorist is sitting right behind your computer. Now, if that sounds nasty, I'm sorry, but the energy of terrorism is self-centeredness. It's me first. It's my land. It's my people. And you must die because I have it right and you're all wrong. And we're all huddling in these different groups. Even within Islam, there are different sects killing each other. And we just saw over 300 people being blown up in a mosque in Egypt. When is it going to stop? My way or the highway, and I'm going to kill every last person that doesn't agree with me. It's got to end. We need to choose love and tolerance. Loving kindness and education will heal the world. And so how long is it going to take? It's going to take until every person understands God is real. He's watching you. I promise you, you get away with nothing. And we need to emulate him and bring his energy into this world by choosing to love everybody else first. And give first. And with that, go to my website, lauriemichelle.net. Please contact me. I'll help you directly. I'll teach you what it takes to be like him and help you with your personal problems. This is the work of world peace. We need to love each other and become educated that God is real and he's watching us and he's watching you. So please choose to listen, learn, and work for peace. May there be world peace in our time. God bless you.